We made our way across the South Ocean, landed in the village of Arcadia on the continent of Ixa'Taka, and now we get to explore the village. Welcome, everybody, to... what is this? Part 11 of Let's Remember Skies of Arcadia. We're making decent progress, so I want to talk about this space and these people just a little bit. Which is a tricky proposition because, as I alluded to before, this is probably the most quote-unquote problematic area in the game for me. If only because, like I've said, Skies paints with a broad brush, and I think it does so for certain effects, and it does so with actual... It sounds so funny to say that it paints broadly but does so with subtlety, but it does. Like, the reason it paints broadly is because it ties back into a lot of greater themes. So here it's like, I enjoy the notion of a bright, colorful culture and things like that, but I also think that there's a little bit more exoticism here than I am necessarily comfortable with in the game, considering that there's not necessarily that much exoticism leveled towards Nazar, and not even necessarily towards our Eastern analog when the time comes. Still, I think if we're looking at the most distilled form of nature versus technology, this is going to be the point in the game where it really comes to a head. I don't want to go down here, I want to climb upwards first. Arcadia is a really cool space. It has one of my favorite musical tracks in the entire game, but it's also, I mean, Skies understands verticality, very well. So this is a fundamentally interesting space to traverse, but it is also somewhat confusing. So let's establish one thing off the bat when it comes to the people of Ixa'Taka and Arcadia. They are NPCs with agency. So these NPCs do not want anything to do with me. They don't care for people from the East. That is because of the disastrous encounters that they have had with Valuan. So when we get to this point of the story, we're getting to pretty much straight out allegory, right? So Valuan is Spain, and this is the Aztec Empire, and so we're in a sort of Cortez, Moctezuma territory. We even had the people of the village asking if Fina was Quieta, their fictional god, which, you know, we had the confusion historically of the Aztecs confusing the conquistadors that arrived for messengers of Quetzalcoatl. The only difference, and it's a minor difference, but I do sort of want to note it just out of a sake for noting history in its entirety, is that the forces that were raised to fight against Moctezuma's empire also were comprised partially of some tribes that wanted to, you know, fight the Aztecs for various reasons. So you didn't only have Cortez on the side of the of Spain, you also had what was his name? Ixa'Taka or someone, right? I think that was his name. I'm very bad at pronouncing Aztec names, as I think many people would be. But he was a leader, to my understanding, of a rival tribe of some kind, or perhaps a dissident faction within the Aztecs. Like I said, I wanted to talk about things for history's sake, but I also will confess that my knowledge of sort of the history surrounding the eventual downfall of the Aztec Empire is not as full as my knowledge of, say, the Iroquois nation. That's just by value of the fact that I live in New England. Oh my gosh, shocker. Now you can find me! I said where I live on the internet. So I understand more about the Iroquois and things like that than I do about the Aztec, or even heading out into other places in America, you know, like the Navajo. I don't really know that much about the Navajo. I wish I did. I really wish I did. So did we grab the moonberry? I'm just sort of talking as things go along. If we have the moonberry, we're going to use it, and this will seem like a reckless use of a moonberry because Drachma is not a reliable party member in the sense that he doesn't always stay with us, but we're going to use it here to get a move called Spirit Charge, which is basically just focus, except it's a special version that gives us double the amount of spirits, puts him in an automatic defensive stance, and will just allow us to be a lot more powerful in this section of the game. This is going to be a lot of lead up into our next dungeon, and we'll go from there. The next dungeon is going to be big, so it needs to be its own section. But just in regards to everything that's going on here, there's a Cham here somewhere too. I need to hit the button. There we go. Cham, which we will feed to Cupel. All I'm saying here is that, well, I think allegorically and everything that we are... Where's the Cham? There it is. That we are in fairly decent territory, and I think Skies is using its broad strokes approach to say some important things about, you know, cultural politics and subjugation of native folks and things like that. At the same time, this is also probably the most exotic space in the game, and that has some necessary drawbacks to it. I like this image of a Ixa'Taka girl and some folks from, one assumes, mid-ocean, right? So east and, well, I guess this is west then, eh? I'm trying to remember the map of Arcadia, so east and west coming together. You know, just a kid, just another kid. So one of the nice things is that, at least on some level, the image that we're presented there, and I'm not trying to read too much into it, it's a very simple image. It's just like, doesn't matter to the kids. All the politics is all the realm of messy adults, right? This is Hans. Hans is pretty cool. I didn't explore Ixa'Taka to the extent I want to, but we will. So we cross South Ocean, and Hans is a blue rogue under the command of Captain Centime, or Centime. I say Centime. Centime takes in orphans and trains them, but he's also like a super crazy gadgeteer. So unfortunately, the Valuans have kidnapped him and forced him to build weapons. So one of the things, obviously, that we will have to do is rescue the good old Captain Centime. Our missions here in Ixa'Taka are diverse, and there's a lot to go through. So we will help rescue Centime, and look at that lump of moonstone. I like moonstones in this game. I like moon crystals. I think crystals and stuff and just RPGs are really cool in general. There's something about it I just really like. So it gives us the fuel, and we are eventually going to help rescue Centime. But I think now we can talk to the village elder, and that will sort of guide us on our path. I want to go back here because I know there's a treasure chest, but I don't remember what's inside. 25 Sacri crystals. That's not bad. Sacri doesn't quite keep up with the health pools of our characters anymore, but we can use it to heal outside of battles and not waste any MP, which is wonderful. So yeah, Centime is being held in the next dungeon, and I partially recant what I said. Depending on the nature of this video and how long it takes to go through all of the rest of what's happening in this space, maybe it is possible that we will consider going to the next dungeon and just like having this be a long segment, but that's a tricky proposition because we went up here to get the moonstone. We can slide back down, which is great. And now we can explore down here and other spaces. I don't know. Like I said, it is so easy to get lost in Ixa'Taka. Skies, once again, though, giving us very interesting spaces to traverse. Skies understands height. Skies understands space. Skies understands space in the sense of giving character to those spaces too. I think this is a game that has a lot of really nice design to it in the world that we explore and encounter. I'm just climbing and exploring for a moment. I believe I know where the village elder is, but I might be wrong. But over here, there's a... I do like this. Like again, there's something about these images that, in my mind as an American, and we have to always parse how we interpret text based upon our own facticities, and that includes nationality. My country has never had a great history of how it has approached native peoples, which is a great shame that I carry to some degree by virtue of being from this country. So when I see images like this, it's not that I get uncomfortable, it's that it makes me wistful for... I suppose... parenthesis that goes to Vise. I suppose wistful for a world in which first contacts with peoples were better. This is a character, he's awesome. He is going to be somebody that we can recruit into our crew. There are 2 people in this town we can recruit into our crew. This is one of them. He's a super skilled archer and a skilled lookout. So my relationship when I'm going through Ixa'Taka right now and Horteka and approaching this space is complicated. It's complicated by sort of whatever strange regrets I have for history that I had no part in shaping. But at the same time, it's one of the reasons I like Skies so much is because Valua has fucked things up, and yet we're going to be able to help, which is amazing. Right? And so here's the Elder. He's super cool. I like his design quite a bit. I like in Ixa'Taka, the color scheme is so gorgeous that we see. All of these, pastel purples and these soft greens and everything. So the Elder wants us to leave. Vise doesn't quite understand about what's going on yet. Like, he hasn't put 2 and 2 together, but Queta is our god. She came when the giant came to destroy us. Queta appeared and saved our village. We can make some connections. We can be like, oh, the giant is one of the Gigas. Prophecy said that Queta's messengers will arrive from the east and save us if our land is ever in danger. It's just very strange stuff. Not strange, but I mean, it's interesting to see what we know of the past because of Fina and how it has rippled and affected this culture now, and their religion and their past history. So Valua came, obviously, and they screwed everything over. So there's a moon where they keep the rocks, and so here's the other thing too. There's some simplistic language in the translation, so that like we took them to the mountain where we keep our glow rocks, and there's, I don't know, it feels a little regressive in a way that I don't particularly enjoy, especially since this is the closest we ever get. Like this is South America. This is partially North America to an extent. We don't have an African analog in this world, which is sort of a bummer. So this is the closest we get to tackling a lot of interesting notions when it comes to exploration and other things. And every now and then I think the game sort of slips a little bit. But I do enjoy the contrast of Vise compared to Valua compared to other things, and it's also this notion of there's a sincerity to Vise, and and its sincerity and goodness inside of people. Like, despite all of the troubles that Valua has caused, the Elder listens to Vise and says, "Fly and talk to our king. You might be able to find the Moonstone, and help us." There's always moments in skies that I think are really nice. And in this case, it's somebody who has every reason to distrust Vise, trusting him. And here, there's another Cham somewhere. Let's stay the night and heal, though. Controller, stop it. Free healing, fantastic in games. I'm always a fan of it. But I know there is a Cham here. We're going to get a Cham. Cham. No, that's the save. I need to figure out where this Cham is. Let me break the illusion, because I know there's a Cham here, but I don't know the exact location. Let me look at my handy memory jogger on GameFAQs. I know it's here. I hope you'll forgive me. That's the save. That's the save again. Cham, Cham, Cham. No, I don't want to talk to you. No, I just said spend the night. No! Everybody laugh at me for being such a fool. Damn it. Oh, it's not here. I'm a foolish fool who makes foolish decisions. It's when we go to see the king. That's what it is. We've all made mistakes in our lives. We're gonna get to come back to Ixa'Taka in a little bit anyway to maybe buy some weapons before we head to the dungeon. I broke the illusion. There are indeed things about this game that I just can't... I don't want to say can't figure out on my own. Chams are the one exception I'm making to my, like, let's figure things out. Like, discoveries, I pretty much know where they are, and then if there's any bullshit time of me trying to find them, I just cut out that time so I don't bore you to death with it. Chams are trickier. So in this case, I need to find them, or I want to. I generally remember the locations, but my mind will get addled from time to time. I don't have a VMU to give me clues. I don't have the game beeping to give me any information. So, you know, I don't have a rumble with this controller, so I just sort of have to wing it a little bit. But I do know where to go now here, so I can talk to the king. And that should be good. And yeah, this section might just be laying the groundwork before we head to Moonstone Mountain. But this is also, like, not great stuff. Because this is Valua at its shittiest. Well, maybe not at its shittiest. Valua is always at its shittiest. But this is a crazy airship design. And I'm sorry about the loud noise. This is the Chameleon, flagship of De Loco, who is as much of an asshole as you might think. And the good news is we have upgraded our ship, and we are going to be able to kick De Loco's ass. So yeah, just quote-unquote civilizing forces coming in, destroying nature, destroying beautiful things, enslaving people. Like, even thematically, we're painting with a very big brush, but it's like, listen, I don't even know how many games even talk about some of that shit necessarily. Some do, not as many. And sure, we're doing it through allegory and broadness, but, you know, that's how it is. This is Deloco. We saw him when the admirals first met. He's fucking bonkers, as his name would suggest. It's insane. He's trying to find the lost city of Rixus to find the moon crystal. By now, everybody knows the Little Jack because of our encounter with Beleza and leaving the Grand Fortress. So now it's like Vise is building a reputation, and it's just like, it's so cool now that, like, you start off unknown and it's like, aha, the enemies start to know us. I like the little camera push-ins there. They're sort of humorous, even though, like, so Deloco, like, there are admirals that we don't take as seriously. Deloco's one of them, but you know, Deloco still does terrible things. And we should be careful that we don't get into a position of ableism and just say that, like, oh, Deloco's crazy. Deloco is not mentally deranged. Like, I don't think that's what's happening in this game, although some people might want to argue otherwise. Deloco is 100% emblematic of a sort of fascination with science overcoming rationality, right? So it's like, professes to be rational, but instead he isn't. And see, now I can time my torpedoes. And if I had enough, I could fire a sub-cannon into the next round, but now we have all sorts of crazy things. I will say this, I don't think Deloco is a complicated character. I don't think the game is trying to do too much with him. I don't think that Deloco is just crazy for crazy's sake. Deloco is science run rampant, which fits into the notion of Valua continuing to be the civilizing force of technology and science and all these things run amok. And he's a direct foil to Centime, who does understand interactions with native peoples, who is a smart individual and all of these things, but there's not as much sort of, you know, Centime is a totally kind person. Deloco is 100% science and power run amok. So, like, he just has this overconfidence, right? So he says, like, my machines will never break down or anything. So it's just like, it's like a child with toys, right? And that's one of the things that we need to remind ourselves of. So it seems funny to do so, but we know how powerful the Moonstone Cannon is. So we actually want to use Increm. And this is why we bought the deluxe kits earlier, by the way. And we'll focus. So I don't know if we'll end up having enough spirit points to fire the Moonstone Cannon, but we'll get close enough. Moonstone Cannon... not Moonstone Cannon. Whoa, I'm thinking way far ahead. Holy spoiler alerts, people. It's a Harpoon Cannon that we're using. If you don't know this game, I almost gave up something really cool. And I probably should have said nothing and not drawn attention to it, but it's too late now. What are you going to do about it? Nothing. So we'll fight this battle, and we will sort of get ready for our sojourn into the big dungeon. But I do like that we have a little bit of fun combat here that we can use for our next segment. I think if we did more damage here, we might have been able to get into a more advantageous position. I forget. Sometimes it's the dialogue choices, and then sometimes it's your actions in combat. And hopefully we will be okay. Because he has a giant flamethrower, so it's like... Obviously, we're worried about that. We have just enough to use the Harpoon Cannon. Well, not just enough, but we have enough. Which also means, if I want to... No, we'll do a healing at the beginning of the round. Guard. And we'll actually take the chance and try using a sub-cannon into our guard action. But the Moonstone Cannon... I said it again! I'm a dummy from Dumbsville. The Harpoon Cannon will be decent here. For real though, let's... I'm losing my mind right now a little bit. Harpoon Cannon. Our trusty Harpoon Cannon. We should be buffed by Increm. Yep. Such a great tool to have at your disposal. It really is. It seems like it ruins... Like, if you're sitting back casually, you're thinking like, oh, that ruins combat by making it too easy. Trust me. The moment-to-moment tactical decisions of battles are still very important. And so now I need to guard. But during my guard action, I will try and... I set up my cannons to keep firing, but we're in a shit position, so I probably shouldn't have done that, but I could have guarded and continued to attack, so that's how sub-cannons work. At least when we are using them. Obviously, we've seen other people use them, but now that's how they work when we use them. Flamethrower, go. Ooh, boy. Didn't hit quite as hard as I was worried that it would, but, you know. But DeLoco is just really petulant, is his thing. But we can knock him off balance before he attacks, so if I want to, I can focus. Oh, it's tricky. It's tricky to make these sorts of decisions. Okay. Okay, so what am I thinking in my head? What am I thinking in my head? What do I want to do? What do I want to do? I have Pyrum. Let's fuck this dude up. No, even better, even better. Torpedo. Oh, I don't have enough focus to go any further, so we'll heal. But here's the thing, if I waste too much MP, that's a problem, right? One more Harpoon Cannon gets him no matter what. For shits and giggles, yeah, I will use Pyrum just to see how it goes, but I will also guard, and I'm just going to heal twice. And that's how it's going to go. And hopefully that wasn't a completely rash mistake on my part, but you can see that's a decision I have to make. I have to sit back and I have to go like, shit, do I heal? Do I do this? Do I focus? So actions in ship battles are not insignificant. They are not without purpose. So I'm guessing sub-cannon? Yeah. That's a hard hit for a sub-cannon. Next, if we just survive to next round, we're fine. Pyrum I just want to use to see how much it hits for. Not nearly as much as I would hope. So, you know, that's crappy. But we'll be fine in the next round. And no matter what, we can heal at the beginning without needing to worry about using spirit points because we have items. So, la la la. That hit us really hard, but I think we'll be okay. See, like, put us in a tough jam, but it's like, deluxe kit, just for shits and giggles. Like, it doesn't matter, because we get him this round. We've won. I forgot all about this boss fight. I really did. Loco, fun character, interesting character. Science run wild. I was having a discussion with somebody about Kefka from Final Fantasy VI, which is a game I'm fairly charitable towards, and sometimes it is unfortunate how that game just tries to justify Kefka's actions by virtue of his insanity. And I feel like this game might do that to an extent with De Loco, but I think the comparison of, like, a child with toys and, like, science gone crazy is much more clear here, or much clearer, excuse me, here than in Final Fantasy VI. Although I think there is a component to Kefka that is about the dangers of power acquisition, because he gets more deranged, to use a tricky term, the more power he acquires. So that's pretty good. It's just over, like, the 31-minute mark. It's a nice little episode. I think we'll talk to the king, get that cham. Maybe I'll end it getting an Abric cham, because I know where to get one. That's why I've been holding on to my Sky Sardis, to my fish. So we'll talk to the king. And then we will try and find the ship that we need to trade the fish with to get the cham, and that will be the end of the segment. So here's the king. Again, really cool colors. Is there anything I can do for you? We did have something, yeah, we're looking for the moon crystal. Sacred green stone. The men from Valuan are looking for the same thing. They don't know where it is. They think it's in the lost city of Rixis, the capital of Ixa'Taka from the old world. And here's we get more of the direct parallels, right? So this is El Dorado, right? The streets were made of pure gold. It's the simplest of allegory, right? But it works. So we need to get Ixa'Taka. He's in Moonstone Mountain. And then at the same time we will rescue Centime. Let's try and find it by ourselves. Of course not. Let's break into the Moonstone Mines. Let's be heroes. It's awesome. And there's the cham in here that I need to get. Hammer on the button. 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 Yeah, there it is. Let's give this Cupel. Yes. Another cham for our favorite little morphing monster. Cupel. What shape are you in now, Cupel? Have you transformed? Still the Cupicone. Wow, he takes a lot of chams before he levels up, but we can get Abric chams, which level him up right away. There's only 3 in the entire game, I think? So the last thing we will do in this segment is we will find a ship to trade with that we can get the Abric cham from, but I think there's also one discovery I want to find, so haha, sorry about that, blah blah blah. Is it this way? There's a lost city, not Rixis, but there's another city somewhere here. I swear. Yeah, we're not going to look for it right now. I'm not going to waste your time like that again. We will look for the ship. This is the weapons merchant or not? It's hard to tell. But we will get the Abric cham. We will see what form Cupel takes. And we will get ready for our next segment. And perhaps maybe I'll put out that segment the same day as I put out this one. It's tricky to decide that. It's because encoding videos takes a while. Oh my gosh, stop. Pyrum. Lambda Burst, that's an amazing opening. And just for the heck of it, we can show off Spirit Charge. Doesn't cost anything. And it really does increase the amount of energy in our Spirit Gauge a lot, and it puts him straight into a defensive stance, which is fantastic. I love it. It's a really useful skill to have. It will help us out a lot in Moonstone Mountain.
Moons, give me strength.
And hopefully this hits nice and hard as well. Very nice. I don't know why it's doing technically more damage to one of the enemies than another. I don't think their elemental affinities are any different. Nice strong hit from Fina right there, though. Counter? Yes! Very nice. I'm a fan. You know what? Hold on. I want him attacking the big thing. I want her attacking the little thing. I want her attacking with magic. We'll use Wevley on that. And then Drachma can use... No, he can't use Tackle if I use Wevley. Darn it! I want to use Tackle. Because we'll use Tackle on the big thing. If Vise doesn't take it out right here, which he probably won't. Ica needs a weapon upgrade. Desperately. These are very strange creatures, sort of living fruits and crazy animal monsters. I like it though, it's fun design. That's unfortunate that we were in that position that it hit both of us. Tackle, we'll show it off even though, dem graphical artifacts. Drachma's cool. Drachma's so cool. There are very few characters in this game that I don't like. De Loco might actually just be one of them. Because he doesn't contribute much to the overall story. Even Alfonso contributes to the overall story in a certain way. Is this the ship? I thought I saw a ship up there. There is something above the clouds. You can see it. It's moving. Interesting. So we need to move around. This is the weapons dealer? I'm pretty sure. Yeah, so we don't need to worry about him. But I do want to find the other ship. Which, the way I talk about it, it sounds like it's a mythical thing, but this might actually be it right here. Or not. You silly bastards. If I don't find it on the way to Moonstone Mountain, I won't worry about it. I will grab the Abric Cham off screen, and we will, in the next section, see the next evolution of Cupel. So I'll just make my way towards Moonstone Mountain. Anyway. Actually, we'll run!
Retreat!
Yay. It worked. Thus far, my luck with running away has not generally been all that successful. Will we find anything on the way? Will we find the ship? Probably not. There's Moonstone Mountain right there. So, in the next segment, we will, stop it. My controller's going crazy, which means random encounters, and I don't want that. We will rescue, everybody that we can from Moonstone Mountain. Thank you very much for watching. I love you all. Bye.